Hey Nature School, it's Mr. Mike and it's lab time now. So today we're going to be dissecting an owl pellet. Pretty cool, huh? Owls are very unique because there are some parts of the food that they eat that they're unable to digest. For example, like the fur, the bones, and the teeth of the small rodents and the exoskeletons of insects that they might eat. You're probably wondering, why aren't they able to? Well, the digestive enzymes in their stomach aren't strong enough to break down those hard bones and all that fur and things like other animals are. So basically what they have is called a gizzard. And that gizzard mashes and grinds and crushes everything up into this pellet form. And then this pellet is able to be regurgitated or thrown up by the owl. A lot of people think it's owl poop, but it's actually not. It's much closer to puke. And when they puke it up, that's just them getting rid of the stuff that they're unable to consume or eat or digest. Now you're probably wondering, where can I get a pellet? How can I do this myself? We never advise for you to pick up pellets from the wild because we don't know what those owls might have or potentially could give you if you touch that pellet. I would advise you to order them from somewhere like pellets.com, seen right here, or you can order them from carolina.com as well. All of these pellets are properly cleaned and made sure that they're rid of potential parasites and things like that. And even if you don't feel safe then, it's always good because you can use a set of gloves, which I'll do today. All right? Let's look at some of the other tools that we're going to need to get started. All right, Nature School, in addition to your gloves, you might need something to poke with, so you can use a skewer. I'm using a letter opener here. You can use a pencil. You can also use a pair of tweezers. And of course, you'll need your owl pellet. It's always good to have a piece of paper or something to lay this out on because it makes it for a little bit easier of a cleanup. So we're going to start. This one is a great horned owl pellet. And we know that because I knew an area where this great horned owl was roosting. So what I did was I took this pellet after a few days of watching the owl return to the same location. What we're going to do is we're going to break this apart. It's already actually kind of falling apart. So we'll break it apart and dissect it and get to look at what this owl might have eaten. Okay. So what's really cool about this is we can tell a lot about what owls are eating based on owl pellets, because these owls eat a variety of different food, like I had mentioned earlier, from mammals, small mammals like mice and voles and shrews, all the way to insects for our smaller owls. Now these tools actually make it a little bit easier to kind of move the hair away from the bone fragments here. So it looks like we have a piece of a skull here, something. So you can see the jawbone and the teeth there. It's a pretty good find. We found the pelvis of something. I'm not quite sure what animal this is. It's broken up pretty big parts, which would connect to the spinal cord here. Then we have a little bit of a smaller arm or leg bone of some type of mammal there. Another arm We have a little rib here. It's pretty delicate, so we'll leave that alone. And then a much larger rib right here of some sort. So not a ton of bones in this one, but we still found some good stuff. Some of the owl pellets that you're going to find come in a variety of different sizes and shapes. As we saw, the great horned owl pellet was very large. Your eastern screech owl pellet, pretty small. And then these little teeny tiny ones over here are of a northern saw-whet owl. And I knew where these were located because I had been following these owls. If you're lucky, like some people, you can get an entire skeleton out of an owl pellet, like this one, for example. Maybe not the entire thing, but pretty close. So this is a rat, and this skeleton is pretty intact. You can see the ribs here, you can see the spinal column all the way into the tail. They got the legs here, head, jaw, all these fantastic bones. And our pellet didn't have as many bones in it. Of course, it had some broken pieces already taken off of it, so we might have lost some in that too. So what does dissecting an owl pellet tell us, Nature School? Well, it tells us a lot of things. The first thing it can tell us is what that owl's eating and what its preferred food is. So maybe if you find a great horned owl pellet and you dissect it and you discover that owl might have eaten a lot of moles or shrews or another owl, it tells us a lot about their diet and helps us determining their habitat. Pellets can also tell us where an owl is located. As I had mentioned, I found that pellet right underneath a tree within one of the parks, and I had heard and seen that owl in that location before, and owls typically tend to roost in similar locations, if not the exact same tree, for a pretty long period of time, and that can help us to find these pellets. So I hope you guys had fun hanging out with me today with this cool little lab science project, and hopefully you guys can dissect some owl pellets after you get some and share with us what you found in your owl pellet. All right? Bye, Nature School. Pound it.